Today's show is brought to you by Woodward, PA. For 55 years, Woodward has been one of the largest overnight camps in the world. They say over 200,000 kids have had the summer of a lifetime at Woodward, PA. Woodward, PA is an overnight summer camp for ages 7 to 17, 9 weeks to choose from. Programs include skateboarding, mountain bikes, scooters, BMX freestyle, and race parkour, roller skate, and creative arts. They're located 3 hours from Pittsburgh, so 30 minutes or so from State College, and Woodward is offering $300 off a full week of summer camp for any program. All you have to do is enter the code CITYCAST, all one word, at checkout and get your kid ready for an unforgettable summer. Visit woodwardpa.com. This is CityCast Pittsburgh. I'm Megan Harris, and here's what Pittsburgh's talking about. Hi, y'all. Before we get into today's show, we have an exciting announcement. CityCast is hiring. So our team is adding a creative producer. It'll be someone who can help write our newsletter, hold your own on mic here with me, pitch sharp story ideas, and help shape what you think daily local media should sound like here in the Steel City. The role is going to touch on everything from podcast production to newsletter writing to social. So if you are creative and genuinely obsessed with Pittsburgh and what Pittsburgh's talking about, then you should apply. Plus, our national team is also looking for help. They want freelance producers and writers who can pitch in on podcast production, newsletter writing. It'll be all across our network. Your day will never be the same twice. We'll have links to apply in our show notes. We're so excited to work with some new talent here in Pittsburgh. Now on to the show. Meg, we'll get to why later, but have you ever actually swam in a Pittsburgh river?
Yes, lots of times.
Recently. I feel like you maybe did.
Okay, so I haven't swam in a Pittsburgh river this summer yet, only because it's been so rainy. It's been so rainy. Wait, that's a lie. I was in the Allegheny River, but further up near Lake Tynesta. Okay, so we're going to count it. But last summer, I jumped off my parents' pontoon boat and swam lots of times.
Oh, okay. Maybe you can talk me into this being a good idea. I have, but it's been solidly 10 years, and it was the Mon, and I did not know that that was dangerous yet. I was CityCast Pittsburgh contributor and our wonderful freelancer, Meg St-Esprit, talking about why it seems like people don't want to see kids in public lately, the restrictions around that, and really what it says about our city in this moment, whether it's okay to swim in a Pittsburgh river, and something very fun for local train nerds and people that want to get outside in the next couple of weeks. So we will start with the kids in public piece. There's been so much stuff lately.
Like constant.
Break it down for me. Like, what are you experiencing as a parent, as somebody who's following this stuff, like the restrictions as they exist and kind of like how that's hitting your family?
Right. So, there have been lots of different restrictions. Kennywood has a new chaperone policy for kids under 15.
Which is like everyone.
Pretty much, yeah. Market Square has one Thursday through Sunday after 3 p.m. There's other places, public pools. I used to get dropped off at the public pool. I can't do that for my kids now.
I spent all day at my local pool. Like, I think I got there at like 9 a.m. when it opened, and then I would get picked up at 5 p.m. It was basically daycare.
Yeah. Well, so now we have to, either take turns with other moms in the neighborhood because we're all remote working so that someone's at the pool with them. And on the one hand, I get it. There have been some situations that have prompted action, but it's just creating this atmosphere. I have a teenager this fall. I'll have 3 teenagers when my twins have their birthday. I know, right? Pray for me. I'm joking. I actually think teenagers are super fun. But like all of the things that we did as teens, the places we hung out, they can't. There's a limit of 1 or 2 in a store at a time. There's no more. We used to go to the pool hall. There used to be fire hall dances. There's really not a lot.
You experienced a level of small town Pittsburgh area.
Shout out.
I don't think I ever went to a fire hall dance, but best. I know what you're talking about. We were more of a kids club community.
Okay.
Like, wasn't it Club Zoo around here? Wasn't that the Pittsburgh thing?
We had that too.
Yeah. That was more my small town vibe. But I know what you mean. Like mall culture, for example. Like
they can't walk around Ross Park Mall by themselves either, really. Well, and it's unevenly enforced as well.
Yeah. And something you and I have talked about too is like, with the stores and stuff, like it feels like it's kind of hard to exist as a juvenile, like anyone who's under 18 right now in public. And I don't understand what's happening with that.
I know. And it feels like so many things. We hear everyone harping on parents for the iPad culture. And again, I get it. We really preach a measured screen approach in our family. But also, we have, starting from toddlerhood, people don't want to hear kids in restaurants. They don't want to hear kids on planes. We've created this kind of idea where kids, so we give them something to, keep them busy. And so our kids are growing up with this idea that, like, existing in public is not comfortable for them. They're always too loud, too much, in the way, bumping things. And then they become teenagers, and we literally make rules around where they can be. It's just, like, very unwelcoming.
Yeah. I mean, as a parent to a much younger kid, like, it kind of feels like it was fine to bring my child to a brewery, babies were welcome. Babies are so cute. Babies are fine. Oh, look at that baby. And now that my child is mobile and running around, and like, it's more of a policing structure, like, quote unquote.
Yes.
Like, if you're gonna have your kid in public, if you're gonna burden the rest of society with the reality that young people exist, like, it's on you to make sure that they're not an inconvenience.
Exactly. And I just think that our kids are carrying that. Your son's going to carry that through, until he becomes an adolescent. And just this kind of sense of, like, I need to make sure adults don't think I'm too much. Or the flip side, where they just say, screw it. And then we get these big gatherings or things you see on the news. Teenage brains doing what they do.
And I think part of the problem is that it's more than just teenage brains, like unformed amygdalas, right? Like, there's these quote unquote teen takeovers, right? So they're organized on social. They've been drawing these really big crowds. And unfortunately, I think that would probably make any civic leader maybe a little nervous, but they've led to some pretty serious incidents. For example, police responded to and used pepper spray at a couple teen takeovers that then turned into big fights last month. There was one in Market Square and another in East Liberty. I think guns were confiscated at one of those. And the other thing that's happening is I think maybe people are unfortunately conflating those incidents that started at least as teen takeovers with other reports of other kind of violence among young people in general. So, like, 2 instances where one teen shot and killed another in downtown last month. Another where groups of people, including teenagers, allegedly beat people up. Those were in Shadyside and East Liberty. So taken together, I get why our leaders are trying things. But I don't know that, this quote unquote teen takeover of it all should be held responsible for all of the bad news. And it's difficult to parse, like, would one have happened without the other? Meg, I'm wondering, like, how you feel about the teen takeover of it all. Like, let's assume the best, that it's just an effort to hang out, to be in community with each other. What do you make of that piece of it?
I mean, I don't know. I will say I haven't followed it super closely. My kids, are not downtown. We live out of the city a little bit in Bellevue. It hasn't been such an issue. There has been some concerning teen behavior, where we live, but differently. I just guess I want more information. Why is this happening? Is it because there's nowhere else to go? Is it truly planned in this way to cause a ruckus? Or is it just that's what happens when a lot of teens try to plan a social event? I just feel like the root of it is just kind of feeling like they have nowhere where they can go be together and socialize.
And I mean, I understand this balance of, like, not wanting to have, like, chaos or, like, kids in danger or kids in trouble. But I feel like we need to have this moment, like, societally, where, like, we have to step back and be like, well, if you really want the city to grow, if population growth is the thing you want, you have to welcome kids too. You have to welcome families as a whole.
Right.
And that includes teenagers.
Yeah. And if you want to have a city full of teenagers that know how to act in public, again, within reason, because they're developing, we have to start welcoming them into society from when they're little and, being more understanding of how kids are. And I'm not saying you let your kid terrorize a restaurant. I know you don't. I know I don't. But, like, kids are kids.
Yeah. When they start acting like tiny terrorists, then you just leave.
You
leave the space.
Yeah. I think a lot of the social media commentary on these teen takeovers has framed it as they are getting together to cause problems, when it seems to me more like they're getting together to socialize, and then problems arise when you have a lot of teens together sometimes.
Yeah, it's 2 out of the 400.
Right.
Which is true in a lot of spaces. I mean, what would you like to see the city or civic leaders in some way do instead? Like, is there something we could be doing from positions of power as adults that would give kids more of an access point?
I mean, as far as the city and public spaces, I think that one is tricky. I definitely think more guidelines are needed. I don't know about these strict, chaperone policies that feel hard to enforce. I know they're being unevenly enforced racially. I've heard that from tons of parents. But I think there are programs, grants. I've heard of the Stop the Violence grant, other funding in the city. I just feel like there is a lot of resources and very few people know how to access them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think a more collaborative effort of, hey, there's money for this. There's experts who know about this. How do we get that information to the parts of the city and the communities and where these teens are, to actually use it?
I mean, the one thing that I'm curious about, too, is the strategy from on high at the moment seems to be well, let's give kids structured activities. I don't always want an activity.
No.
I think back to my own time as a kid and I'm already in school. I'm maybe doing sports or I have a hobby or I have a club or a recreational thing. I am done with structure when I want to hang out with my friends. I just want to rot.
Yeah.
And there's nowhere to rot in public.
No, there really isn't. I mean, I stopped in Market Square on my way to come record here, and I went in the one coffee shop and all the tables were put up. I couldn't sit and work on my computer for a little bit. And, I don't know if that's the plan forever, but it was disheartening.
Which seems bananas, right? Because you're talking about downtown, and we just came out of this moment where we had the NFL draft, and everything got nice and new, and it's supposed to be for everybody. But is it?
Exactly. Yeah.
If you work for city government or you have some kind of approach in these spaces, I'm curious what you think. If anyone has suggestions or something that you're aware of, maybe a program that we don't know about, but we should, we would love to hear from you. You can call our Kids in Public hotline at 412-212-8893. These are just questions we're asking ourselves, and we genuinely don't know the answer. But as parents, it seems like a weird moment in Pittsburgh and the U.S. as a whole.
It's everywhere, yeah. And I do think this is the start of a conversation that we need to say, we have the pandemic, we have social media, we have all of these things that have changed what it means to be a teenager. What are we going to do now?
Yeah. I want answers and solutions. And there's so many smart people that listen to us, and we're so grateful for that. Let us know what you think. And one more thing, a note from the future. So after we recorded this with Meg, I had a conversation with a new friend, a listener of ours, Jonathan P., who is also frustrated with Pittsburgh's general intolerance for young people right now. But he wisely pointed out that maybe we should also lighten up about places like Kennywood, for example, because he reminded me that, it may feel like Kennywood is a public space because we love it. And there's all this nostalgia for the park. It belongs to us. But unlike Market Square, it is in fact a private business. And so they can set their own rules. And if a chaperone rule is the right thing for them right now, at least they're still letting kids come in. I know it's messy and it's complicated, but I thought I would add it in. Just more food for thought.
Hi, I'm David Plotz. I'm the CEO of CityCast, a podcast network that includes this show you're listening to, and also 12 other CityCasts in 12 other cities. And each one knows their city as well as your local team knows yours. So isn't it time we connected them? Don't you want to know how they're tackling their bike lane problems and housing challenges and sidewalk dog poop crises? That's why I'm hosting a new podcast called Your City Could Be Better. Because it could be. Every week, I'll chat with a different host in our CityCast network about what their cities are doing right and wrong, the weird things they're trying, and the surprising successes, so that we can all learn how to make our cities a little bit better. Listen to Your City Could Be Better on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, a big question for everyone. I feel like everyone who moves here, but also good to remind everyone who's been here for 50 years. Meg, in this moment, in the year of our Lord, 2026, can you swim in Pittsburgh's rivers?
Sometimes.
Does it matter which ones and under what parameters?
Yes, there's lots of what ifs.
What's the best river to swim in, usually?
So I don't have a straight answer on that, but given the data that our expert Daniel Bain at Pitt gave us, I feel like the further upriver you go from Pittsburgh, the better. So up on the Allegheny, we swim in Tionesta a lot. There's less industry, things like that. But it's more so about the timing, rainwater, runoff. Those are the things that matter more than specifically what river. where on the river matters a little bit more because of the poop, actually.
Okay, let's get into the poop. I mean, part of the reason we're talking about this is because as a freelancer, you have occasion to meet a lot of people. And in this case, you helped facilitate something for the conversation about this, like with a water expert.
Yeah, so I reached out to Daniel Bain at University of Pittsburgh for the conversation. He is a professor of geology and environmental science, and he explained a little bit of the nuance to me.
Which is?
So it's not so much about which river or where. And honestly, even though I was very concerned about, runoff from old steel mills and things like that, the main issue was poop.
Yeah, it's sewage. It always comes down to that. I mean, it's worse when it rains.
Yes, and it's worse by Alcosan. Shout out, we love Alcosan and what they do for us. But right around there, it can be particularly bad. It's right under the McKees Rocks Bridge, if you don't know.
Yeah, that's like where they do all the sanitation and water treatment, like the facilities and all that. But I mean, why is it worse outside the building?
So, obviously they're treating water and they're putting it back in the river. There's also...
I actually didn't know that. Is that where how the water thing works?
I think so. Now I'm questioning myself, right? Isn't that what they do?
I don't know. This is so stupid. When I turn on water in my water faucet, and I use it and it goes down the drain, it goes back to the facility. Is there a waypoint? Does it end up in a tank? Does it go to a pool? Is that what happens? Is that the Highland Park Reservoir? After I've used my water, it sits in there for a while.
Okay.
And then it gets cleaned. I don't know the answer.
So according to Google, the Allegheny County Sanitation Authority collects sewage and stormwater from 83 municipalities, treats it at its Northside facility, and discharges 140,000 gallons of clean water per minute back into the river. That's a lot.
Okay, so the river is the waypoint, and then we send it on its way?
Right, down to Beaver County where I swim in the river, which I'm now thinking about. No, but so they put out flags. You can see them. There's poop flags. And again...
Wait, what's a poop flag?
Well, they let you know that there's a higher level of sewage in the river.
Are you talking about a physical flag?
Yeah,
or they
they're
put
orange.
something out on social?
No, in the river.
Where do they put an orange flag in the river? I've never seen an orange flag in the river. Has anyone in the room here seen an orange flag in the river before? Getting nose, shaking heads.
Okay. Man, you're making Google work hard right now.
I've never seen that, I swear.
Bright orange CSO flags along the river to warn of public raw sewage overflows. Warn the public of raw sewage overflows.
Maybe I've just been very fortunate to not be riverside during raw sewage overflows.
Well, also, Alcosan is in a very industrial part of the river. We're not doing recreation down there. It's by Hers Island, Neville Island, along Bellevue. It's all industrial there.
It is. It's also along a trail. It's there beside Western Penn, which we talked about recently on the show. And if you bike along there, I would presumably have seen it, which I used to do almost every day. And I swear I've never seen that flag.
And also, I think you have to think about mitigating risk, though. Just because you see the flag, say your ankles are in the river. That's very different than, doing the back.
I don't know, man. I'm looking at my toes, and I don't want, cryptosporidium, getting up in there.
Yeah. So, but it's definitely, 48 hours after rain, our expert said you should not. Other times, you need to be cautious. Think about where you're doing it. I wouldn't make yourself a fountain and spray it up out of your mouth.
It's Pittsburgh, though. It's always rained within 48 hours.
That's the tricky part.
I mean, are we talking about a sprinkle or a deluge?
I mean, definitely the amount of water matters because a sprinkle is not going to fill into the rivers like a deluge. But we've been getting a lot of those as well.
I mean, how much should we be nervous about this? If I take a long-awaited tiki boat ride, which I still haven't done, is that okay? To get it splashed up on the boat? Because for example, I have seen those things going by when the bathtub was flooded. You know what I mean? Rivers were high. There was a ton of water. Tiki boat's still riding proud.
I mean, I think the thing you need to think about if we're talking about poop germs is they need to get into your mouth, into your body, on your hands. So I think
yes, I did just say the thing about my toes. I don't think that's actually how that spreads to any immunology nerds out there. I do know that, but it still gives me the ick.
Yeah. And I would say just common Yinzer wisdom, before I ever had this expert or ever helped facilitate this article.
Before Dr. Google helped you out with flags.
Right. My dad would sometimes say, no, it just rained. It's too muddy to swim in the river today. So,
Okay, well, maybe your dad was on to something.
Yeah.
Okay, so poop aside, we do not swim in the rivers after it rains. And we do not swim in the rivers when we see flags.
Right. And you shouldn't drink the river water.
Ever, for any reason.
Even when we do swim, we are not I don't go underwater. I've seen my kids go underwater. I tell them keep their mouths closed. But if you fall off when you fall off when you're tubing, though, I mean, you're underwater. So.
Yeah. But like, there's orifices.
I know. I will say we've never gotten sick. There are cases where people got sick. There was a triathlon where, there had been rain, discharge, and people did get sick. And so there's cases. But I think, using some guidelines, common sense, I've never gotten sick.
Even if they weren't icky, do we have river currents that would make them dangerous to you?
Oh, for sure. Sometimes you don't want to.
Because our rivers, I mean, they're narrow here in the city center in a way that like some massive rivers, like I grew up very close to the Mississippi River and that thing's enormous. Like it's so wide and you can see where the currents are really easily from a distance. Like you don't want to get anywhere near that because it can drag you.
Yeah, there's some spots like that. Right where the Ohio River meets the Beaver River. I remember one time one of my kids fell off the tube. And definitely, I mean, they were in a life jacket. They were old enough to swim. We went back and got them, but the current did pull them right back out into the Ohio. And so we, are more careful now about that area because there's a confluence where they meet and it's just more powerful than it might look on the surface.
I mean, do you have any recommendations? Like if open water is someone's thing where you would recommend they go safely along the rivers or just like off river completely? Like Lake Moraine, for example, north of the city is one of my favorite spots. Also can have an ick factor from time to time.
And they put signs up sometimes.
With algae and other things. But like lakes ick me less than rivers now that I know what can happen.
Yeah, and I think lakes ick me less than rivers in industrial areas. Like, my parents have a place on the water up in Forest County. The Allegheny River there. Up camp, yep. It is a camper with a porch built on the front, as we do here in Western PA, and lots of places.
Yeah, I feel like that's like a redneck truism all over the nation.
I love it. It's so peaceful there. But yeah, the river up there is a different ecosystem. There's less industry. It's Allegheny National Forest. Certainly there's been logging and there's been things, but I think where matters, you got to look what's around you. We live in Bellevue. All of our riverfront by us is pretty much trains and industry. So down by Beaver County, there's more places where we can access the waterfront and, kind of swim. There's the Beaver Beach, as we call it, and things like that.
Okay, last up, we have something special coming to our region, kind of all across the state, really, and into Ohio. But the moment is now in Pennsylvania for a couple of weeks. There's a big boy train.
Yes, we've been watching this closely in our household.
You did say you did have some train watchers in your house. What is the big boy?
Okay, so it's the Union Pacific Big Boy 4014. And I guess in 1941, they built, 25 of these big steam engines. There's only 8 left, but this one is the only one that actually still runs under its own power. So it's doing a little vanity tour across the country. And there's all these spots you can see it. And it's very exciting because not only is going to see it part of the fun, but tracking it as it gets to you is part of the fun because they update the route and maybe it was going to come this way and now it's going to come that way. So there's been a lot of excitement as it prepares to come through in 2 weekends on July 11th and 12th.
Yeah, and really in our region, for a while now, starting in mid-June, it was on the other side of Pennsylvania, getting some maintenance, getting a little attention, getting gussied up for the occasion. In Altoona from July 9th through 11th, although there's all kinds of specialty stuff, some for the public, some not, some sold out already.
Can you imagine seeing the big boy go around Horseshoe Curve?
No.
That's probably a holy experience for a train lover.
I mean, and the Horseshoe Curve is literally this giant engineering marvel where they figured out how to go around a mountain with a train without it falling over. It's kind of a fascinating thing. And there's a whole railroad museum there.
Yeah, my dad took my oldest. I've never been.
Yeah,
I've seen Horseshoe Curve, but I haven't been to the museum.
I've only seen the curve from a distance. I've never seen it up close. Then it's going to have, this train is going to have a 30-minute stop in Cresson, Pennsylvania, Leetsdale, and in Conway. And all 3 of those are going to be on July 11th. So that's kind of what you were talking about, Meg. And then it's going to be in Struthers, Ohio on July 12th and keep going from there.
Yeah, and I saw it goes all the way, there's stops in Denver. I mean, it's going across the country. We're pretty excited. We've done a lot of train enthusiast things around this area. And so this feels like we've driven to them. We've sought them out. This one's coming to us. So we're excited.
Yeah. My family recently tried to go to Cuyahoga National Park outside Cleveland.
Yeah.
to see the train. And we picked like the 1 week that it's not running.
Oh
and
my
they were doing like
gosh.
an adults only cigar experience on the train. So we could
Speaking of
see
kids
it.
in public, why can't my toddler go on the cigar train?
I think actually, technically, I think my toddler could have gone on the cigar
gosh.
train in a different car.
Okay.
But it was like $80 to do it. Anyway, this is exciting to me because it's like much, much closer and much more achievable.
Yeah, but we do have lots of train things around here for people that are into trains, which is exciting.
Yeah, most of these are still like on my list. And I love Pennsylvania history stuff. And gosh, the history of our transit and how we used to move people is fascinating and might make you weep if you
I know.
like wish for like better people mover options. Not just trains, but like, things that we would associate with like the T, for example,
Yeah, I
like
know.
trolley cars, things like that. And a lot of these museums give you a sense, like a glimpse of how people used to move in Pittsburgh's like population heyday in like the 50s and 60s. It's a travesty that
I know.
we don't have more options like we did back then.
And every time we go to any other city, that is usually I love Pittsburgh, but I compare their public transit to ours. Yeah, it's really fascinating. We used to be a real, front runner in that field.
Yeah. And one, for example, and it's been on my list forever, I still haven't been, is the Pennsylvania Trolley Museum in Washington County.
It's great. We love it.
I've heard such good things. There's other ones, the Western Pennsylvania Model Railroad Museum in Gibsonia. Meg, you were the one who told me, hot tip, it's only open in the winter.
Yeah, it's like a holiday thing. It's really beautiful. It's a model of the Mon Valley, and they do different, it can be nighttime or daytime, kind of like the Science Center table. It's really beautiful. And then that's on the upper floor. The lower floor has a lot of hands-on stuff for little kids and a gift shop. So come prepared.
Of course. And of course, the Cayman Science Center has that enormous model railroad.
We love it. I never get sick of that.
It's so cute. There's a bunch of other places. You told me about, what was it? The
Allegheny Portage Railroad Museum. This is one of my favorites, and I don't know a lot of people that have been to it. So
I had never even heard of it.
It's
so
in-
educate me.
It's in Gallitzin, PA, which is like an hour and 45 minutes from here, more towards Altoona, Johnstown-ish area. We stayed at Prince Gallitzin State Park in a cabin. So before they built Horseshoe Curve, they would Portage Canal cars over the mountain on kind of this series of like pulleys and tracks. And so this is one of the gear houses, basically. Almost to me, it feels like a forerunner to like inclines, although they might have been around at the same time.
It's funicular adjacent.
Yes, yeah. And so you can see it working. There's, glass floors you can look down through. There's really hands-on stuff. It's definitely worth like an overnight at an hour and 45 minutes, you could go out for the day and come back. Super good for train lovers.
And it's part of the National Park Service, too. There are no national parks like in the way that we think of them in other states here in Pennsylvania, but we have a ton of historic sites.
Yeah, my kids got the badge. They took the oath with the officer or the ranger and all of that. So
Yeah, so this is one of those. One that I'll shout out, the Mars Area History and Landmark Society does tours usually when Mars, PA is doing like other events. Like they have their big Martian New Year that they do every
next
other year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and other things. But it's right next to Stick City Brewing.
Okay.
So if you're already going up for a chance to check out the brewery.
And take your kids to a brewery?
Yes, your small children and big children, actually. I will say that one is a space that seems to welcome kids of
I'm
all
joking.
ages.
They're great, yeah.
I know, right? And then there was another one. You said there were steam trains that you can ride in Oil City.
Yeah, the Oil City and Titusville Railroad, I think.
Oil Creek and Titusville Railroad.
Oil Creek and Titusville Railroad, yeah. So it's up that way, again, up near when we go up to camp. And it's pretty great. It's small, it's smaller than Cuyahoga, I would say.
But it's still a steam engine.
Yeah.
So like if you want to go see the big boy, you can. But if you miss it, if that weekend's not convenient for you, this is another option to check out like that old technology and kind of see it in action.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Just a reminder, as we talk about all of this, CityCast Pittsburgh here is going to be off for 4th of July weekend. We're having a nice long weekend. We hope you are too. There will be a special treat in your feed because you're going to get the latest episode of Your City Could Be Better one day early, and it's supposed to be a fun one. So they're doing a special trivia episode hosted by Twin Cities host and trivia master Sean McPherson. There's going to be multiple rounds. They're also doing this CityCast road trip section of the trivia featuring a question for each of our 13 cities. Y'all, I'm tuning in alongside you to see whether these guests actually know the difference between Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, unlike Third Eye Blind. That is all for today here on CityCast Pittsburgh. You can support us by becoming a CityCast Pittsburgh neighbor. Learn more and get all the details at membership.citycast.fm. Our music is by Los Mocachetes, Aaron Taylor Waldman, All the Kimonos, Bagel, and Sarah the Instrumentalist, with additional mixing by Tyler Lindgren. Mallory Falk is our executive producer. Sophia Lowe produces the show. Francesca DeBecco writes our newsletter. Adrienne Gonzalez is our post-producer. Rachel Carlson is our audience development manager. And I am your host, Megan Harris. We will be back on Monday with more from around the city. Have a great long weekend, everyone.
We are driving to Canada on the 4th of July.
You're escaping the nation.
My 7-year-old says, that feels like a betrayal on her birthday.